it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be talking about Junk Journal January that we've got coming up next year that you might have seen announced. And if you haven't, stay tuned because I'm going to explain all about it. It's a really exciting challenge. We did it last year and I thought, why not bring it back for 2020? So I'm going to be talking about that, and I'm going to be answering some of your questions because I asked on Instagram if you had any questions about Junk Journal January or junk journaling in general, art journaling in general, anything like that. So I'm going to be answering those. So Junk Journal January, so it's a collaboration between myself and MiaVibes over on Instagram. So we've created a 31-day prompt list for January, basically to spark your creativity. It's a really great way to have a starting off point if you're looking for inspiration. And last year it created a really great community feel in the hashtag on Instagram. So, you know, if you're looking for maybe accountability, that type of thing, it's a great way of starting to build that creative habit. So if you've never junk journaled before, if you've never even journaled before, then it's great for beginners too. It's really simple. We've basically just come up with a word or a very short phrase for each day, and you can interpret it however you like. We've got some that are to do with themes, we've got some that are maybe a material or a colour scheme for you to work with, so feel free to take them and run. I'd love to see what you come up with. So you can find the list of prompts over on my Instagram, and I'll pop the list up on the screen now for you as well. Just so if you're not over on Instagram, you can take a screenshot, save it to your phone, make it your phone background so you remember to do it every day. But yeah, I'd love to see you get involved. I think last year we had a few people making videos, so I will try to find everyone that made videos and link them down below for you. You can see what people did last year, and just get some inspiration. It's a really relaxed challenge. I don't want anyone to feel stressed about doing it every day. It's just a great community feel. I know when we, me and Sunny, MiaVibes, do the Instagram lives, we always have so much fun. We're just sort of having a chat, doing our journaling, and it's just a really great atmosphere. So we also collaborated as well on a printable for the challenge. So I'll just show you that now because I'm going to use it in my journal. I create these illustrations for my patrons over on Patreon, and Sunny is amazing with her words, so she usually creates, especially for her shop as well, different phrases and encouragements. So we've basically blended those together and you've got the best of both worlds. So I've done some illustrations based on the challenge, and Sunny has written some beautiful sayings and we've made them into a printable. So if you'd like to use those for the challenge, I will leave links down below where you can find these, but I'm gonna be using a couple of these in my spread, and especially the flowers and the self-care kind of affirmations, I guess you could call them, that Sunny has written. They go really well with the prompts. We try to sort of tie those in, so that if you're looking for some easy inspiration and start off points, then you can use those. So I'm going to create my title page for my journal for 2020 / for Junk Journal January, and I'm going to answer your questions. So I've got your questions written down here, so I'm just going to pop these off to the side because it's all in my scribbly handwriting. And then I am going to answer those. So one of the questions was, are you making a book ahead of time or afterwards when the pages are done? I've pre-done a journal for this challenge. Now, after me and Sunny did our live stream the other day, I decided I really wanted to make a chunkier insert because I had made this A6 little insert just full of different pages, but I really wanted it to be chunkier because I realised that's what I was missing. It felt a little too thin. So what I went ahead and did was just made a sort of, it's like 4 signatures in a little book, and I was able to just slide it into my TN here just to keep it nice and secure. So I will just pop it out. So that's just to keep it safe, and I'm going to add my wallet back in. I haven't added that in yet, just, you know, for random bits of paper, scraps that I want to use in like one of the prompts or something. But basically I've bound this little book, partially inspired by Patricia's post, because I realised like I really love the little A6 size, and I've made it and I thought, why don't I like love it as much as my other journals? And I realised it's because it didn't feel substantial enough. And as soon as I made this and put the 4 signatures together and then just did a really simple binding, I just used some cardstock for the cover and then some brown paper for the spine. And as soon as I made it chunkier, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. And I do want to work small because I do want to keep everything simple and like easy for the day, so I don't have to put that much in it. And I've basically just used a variety of papers. So I've got book pages, I've got brown paper, tea-dyed paper, I've got tracing paper. Oh, what else have I got? I think I've got some floral pages, just literally anything, some music paper. What I love about junk journals is you can just use whatever is lying around in your house, essentially. There are no rules. Now that leads me on to another question that I had. Someone said, this is my first time junk journaling, can you explain what it is? So this is why I've brought these journals with me. So I'm just going to show you these and then I will crack on with my journal page. So essentially junk journaling is, well, I believe it got the term because it's making a book using literal junk. So the first examples that I saw where people would use like junk mail or like cards and just like leaflets and anything like that. And I used to see people like gessoing pages to be able to create onto them. So essentially it's just a book made using junk. So anything that didn't have a home, you bind it into a book. Now I kind of do more of the like vintage kind of junk journaling. So junk journaling in the sense of using old book pages and upcycling materials, because I'm obsessed with all like vintage stuff. A lot of people will use old book covers like this one, or they'll make their own. It's basically anything goes, so it's not well, it can be a blank book in a way, but it's normally like pages that already have something on them, I would say. But it can be literally anything. So you can use plain pages, you can use book pages, you can use music pages, you can use junk mail, you can use literally anything. The pages can be all the same size, the pages can be different sizes. The book can be circular, it can literally be anything. So this was the first like junk journal that I properly did, and this was basically because I used to use a Moleskine cahier. I'm not quite sure how that's said, but I used to use a Moleskine cahier. I don't know. Please let me know how that's said. Is it cahier? I mean, I don't even know if it's Moleskine. Is it Moleskine? I will just carry on. It's pronounced one of those ways. Anyway, so I used to use one of these, and I would find myself like collaging onto the pages and using like old papers. So like, for example, this page, I would collage some book pages and old postcards and different papers, and I would use like map pages and magazine images and like floral illustrations that I found, and I realised that I was basically on some of the pages covering up the page with so much collage that I thought, well, why did I start with a blank page? So then I discovered that you could actually bind a book using these pages already and work off those and use vintage papers and upcycle them and just bring new life to them, basically. So I love recycling, reusing, repurposing, so it seemed like the perfect fit for me, especially as I like to do a lot of collaging. So essentially I would just use anything I have to hand and just create different pages. I was creating little tuck spots. Some pages I would just have like basic collage, no like writing or anything. You can write on your pages, obviously. It's I did have a few questions asking about what to include, and basically anything you want. There's no rules on what you should include, there's no rules on what you shouldn't include. If you want to include it, then include it. Here I've done some like watercolour, I've got a photo, I've got little tags included in here. Here I have done some writing, but I've also done a collage. It's basically whatever you'd put in your normal journal, but using a backdrop of recycled pages, I think. But obviously I have seen people create junk journals from brand new like scrapbook papers and done all like bright colours, because I know I like more muted colours. But basically like any like packaging that comes into your life, any ephemera, any bits and pieces, like layer them. I really like using different layers. So like here I've just literally put in like some new nail polishes I got, all different things. So basically anything goes. So I'm going to start on my cover page here. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of doodling and maybe some collage. So I did have a question about the prompts that was saying, do you have to do them in chronological order, or can you do them in different orders? Can you pick prompts at random? Can you do them in a different order? And the answer is yes. There's no challenge police coming after you if you do them in a different order. So I would just say do whichever ones you feel like doing. If you want to do them all, and do them all in order, then go for it. If you only want to do a few of them, or even if you want to do them backwards, do them backwards. You don't have to do it any particular way. And then another question that I had was, do you have to use a junk journal? And I know that it's Junk Journal January, and we have sort of curated the prompts to be like in line with maybe like lead into what you would use in a junk journal. So like I think one of them, save a tag. So obviously that's maybe like if you've got a tag in some packaging, or you have you've made one and you've got it lying around. So some of them do kind of relate to junk journaling, but again, that's something you could also just do in your normal journal. So if you want to participate and you don't want to use a junk journal, that's completely fine. Just use it as a generic prompt list. That's absolutely fine. And then another question I had was basically asking about where to start with junk journaling and how to start with the challenge. And I know it sounds really like not helpful for me to say just start, but you kind of have to just start. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of like doing something new, doing something different. If you've never done any junk journaling before, or even any journaling before, then it might push you a bit out of your comfort zone, but building that kind of creative habit, if that's something you want to do in the new year, or if you want to like build on that even more, then it's a really good start. So some of the prompts, we've made them so that they can be really accessible and simple. So if you want to do a really simple 5-minute page, then you can. If you want to spend longer on it, then you can. Maybe look around you for inspiration, like what you can use that you've already got. Don't go out and buy loads of things, because chances are you do have stuff already, especially with it being junk journaling. So keep your eye out for things that come through the post, or things you pick up, like receipts and like flyers, leaflets, things like that. They might have things you can cut out and use. Packaging from things you buy, anything like that you can upcycle and use in your junk journal. I had a question as well about binding and like advice on binding a junk journal. I did do a video recently where I binded just a simple like what do you call it, figure of 8 binding, where you literally just fold your paper in half and then make 3 holes and do the figure of 8 binding. So I'll leave a link down below if you want to watch that, and do like a really simple binding, like fuss free. You really don't need that many supplies, but for this one it's basically the same principle, except I also added a cover as well. But I would say use some strong thread. So I use I've got a massive stash of like embroidery threads, and they're really like strong and durable, so I would suggest to use those. Also make sure that what you are binding, like if you've got a cover, make sure that that's sturdy as well. Obviously it doesn't have to be perfect. Normally I don't measure when I am like sewing my book in, sewing my pages into my book, but you can measure if you want. But I just don't measure. Although they do say, what is it, measure twice, cut once, or something. There's probably a reason they say that, but I don't measure. I think it's just because I'm more of a I don't know which side of the brain it is that's the creative, but I'm more that side. So anything with like maths and numbers and measuring is just like not the one for me. So I don't do that. But how cute is this little teacup? I know that I did it, but it's still cute. So somebody asked what inspires me to keep a journal, and I really like documenting, I really like memory keeping, but I also just really like being creative. So it doesn't have to have like a purpose, so you don't have to be journaling to document. You can just journal like purely as a hobby, as a creative outlet, just like getting things out of your brain, whether that's in words or whether that's through doing like collagey bits and keeping your hands busy, that kind of thing. A lot of the times I will have my journal with me whilst I'm like watching the TV, or if I'm out and like I'm at an appointment and I'm in a waiting room. It's just something to do, something to keep me busy, and then you get a really pretty journal that does have memories in the end. Because even if you haven't like specifically gone like, dear diary, this happened, this happened, this happened, and like put pictures in, it'll still reflect what point of your life you're in that moment, even if you don't like do it like that. So it's a really great way to have a creative outlet and to document your life, really. So that's why I enjoy doing it. So I'm just going to use my what are they called, uni pen fine liners. I am going to add little titles. So I just wanted to keep this nice and simple for an introduction page. I'm probably just gonna maybe just write Junk Journal January or something like that, probably. Yeah, we'll do that. What's the next question? I had a few people asking me about sources of inspiration and like inspirational artists that I like. I will leave a host of links down below to some of my favorite like Instagram accounts, YouTubers to follow, even like some blogs I used to follow back in the day, because I feel like they have all somehow influenced me and what I create. And I am putting the wrong word down. This is why I don't talk and journal. I've just put journal because journal was in my head. Junk, I'll have to put, oh dear. I'll put junk up here. Oh, it's not going to fit now, it's too big. I've just written journal. This is why live TV is so difficult, isn't it? I can't just put journal January. Oh dear. I'm going to put January and then I'm going to find a way to put junk. Right, that'll teach me for trying to talk and write at the same time. And then one of the last questions that I had was, how many journals do you have and how do you use each? I have many journals. I will grab it now. I literally have an entire box, just in a box. All these, and I've also got some on the shelf, so maybe 20 journals, and I do try to not use more than one at a time, but I always fail. So I don't really designate purposes to journals, but I do have my where did it go? I do have just a standard like personal written like personal life diary that I use that normally doesn't see the light of day. I think I've only done a couple of videos on this, and that was over on my Patreon, but I have this that's just writing, and then I will have like a junk journal and like a sketchbook and something like that. So yeah, I would say the main two purposes are like an art journal, more like creative junky kind of vibes to it, and then a personal journal, which is a little bit like unique because I like to post my art journals online, and you know, I like to post my drawings of flowers. I don't want to post like what's happening in my life, do you know what I mean? So that's why I do keep like a separate off-camera journal, if you will, but basically that's just for my own sanity. So that's what I use them for. So I need to find a solution now for this lettering, but yeah, I want to keep this front page just really simple, just as like an introduction to the journal, kind of like setting the mood, setting the tone. So I think I'm just going to add a little bit of we'll call this like white out, except it's brown paper, so it's brown paper out. I don't know. Fixing it, but fixing it with vintage vibes. There we go. So I will write junk on here. Junk. There we go. Junk journal January. Fabulous. Do I want to add some? I might want to add a little one of these. I think I'm going to add this one here. Or do I want to add this one from here? I quite like this one. We'll go for this one. So I drew these little cute boxes around some of Sunny's words, just because I know she does those cute little ephemeras that she makes. So these are basically like a print off version of those, and they just look really cute. And they're black and white, so they will just go with anything as well. So, and you could even print these onto like brown, like tea dyed paper maybe, and create like even more of like a vintage vibe. That would look really cool. I think I'm gonna scrumple it just to give it a bit more of a, there we go. I just like doing that. Sometimes it just gives like added texture. And then will I be able to fit this under here? Just gonna pop this under here just to make it sort of blend in a bit with the collage, but obviously I don't want to cover the words, so we'll go for there. I always end up doing that. I always end up gluing stuff down and then realizing I want to put stuff back on underneath, so I just peel things back up. And then we'll just glue that down. There we go. And I feel like we're missing something here. So let's have a root through my stash of papers and see what I can find. I do have these cute stickers from Shea Barton. I might just add a sticker, or do I cut out a... I've got some flowers here, maybe I'll add... oh, they're kind of blue though, they don't really go with the... I want more like warm tones really, don't I? Let's see. Oh, that's cute. No, I don't like that there. Nah. There we go. There we go. I feel like we're missing something here, but I don't know what. If I can't find anything, oh, washi tape. The page has no washi tape. It's not a Mega Journals page without washi tape, is it? Let's see. Oh, I got this really cute set of like they're really muted tones. I got them from Wilco that we have here in the UK. So if you're not in the UK, I'm sorry, I don't know where you could find these, but I really like the sort of, it's not like a garish silver, it's a really nice dull silver, but in a nice way. And this kind of like warm brown as well, and purple. So let's see if these might go nicely. And then I might raid my washi stash as well. Oh, there we go. I like that. And then I think I'll just add another one here. So if you are curious, I basically keep a big old basket full of washi tape in my drawers in my office. So let's see which ones I want to add. So I think I might add this striped brown washi. I know I used to get quite a few people joking that I would add a lot of brown to my pages, and like, was my favorite color brown? And I think someone at one point even commented being like, are you wearing brown nail polish? And I think it was actually a dark purple, or like a sort of you know, that sort of blush pinky purple that looks a little bit brown. But yeah, I do actually use a lot of brown, don't I? So this, I think, is gonna be everything for this page. So this is a little title page for Junk Journal January / my journal for the start of 2020. I'll probably finish this in 2020, I should imagine. Maybe I won't. But I just wanted to create a little collage to welcome in my journal. I might add something to here, I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna leave the gap because I don't want the page to seem too busy. So I hope you've enjoyed this journaling session and journal chat. I hope I answered your question. If you have any more questions for me, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will get back to you. But apart from that, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss more videos from me, and I will see you in the new year for Junk Journal January and more creativity.